Hey everyone, What If Fan here, bringing you another exciting part of What If Karmic Gacha system in Modern Family World. You can find the fanfic title and the original author's name on my Patreon page. Make sure to check it out and show them some love. If you enjoy the video, don't forget to like, subscribe, and ring that notification bell so you never miss an upload. Also check out my Patreon channel for early releases of all the series, where you can find all the series released one day ahead of YouTube. Alright, let's jump into it. Chapter 31, A Teen's First Kiss. Edward's POV. Question number 1. 1. A bat and a ball cost $1.10 in total. The bat costs $1 more than the ball. How much does the ball cost? For an ordinary man, they would answer the question with 10 cents. But, the answer was actually 5 cents. If the bat cost $1 more, then the difference between the total and how much more the bat cost needed to be cut in half, as the price of the bat and the ball is the same thing without the difference. So the bat would have cost $1.05, and the ball cost 5 cents. I jotted down 5 cents on the space provided for the answer and moved on to the next question. Question number 2. If it takes 5 machines 5 minutes to make 5 widgets, how long would it take 100 machines to make 100 widgets? Simple enough. I muttered and placed 5 minutes on the answer space. The time wouldn't be shortened or increased, as one machine would still take 5 minutes to finish one widget. Also, what the hell are widgets? Question number 3. In a lake, there is a patch of lily pads. Every day, the patch doubles in size. If it takes 48 days for the patch to cover the entire lake, how long would it take for the patch to cover half of the lake? Many students scratched their heads as they tried to answer the quiz. I jotted down 47 days as the answer and moved on to the next question. It doubled half the size. So I just need to minus 1 day, cause the whole lake is covered in 48 days. I just need to go backward instead of calculating it from the start. I muttered. Managing to finish all of the questions before the bell rang, I yawned as I placed the paper on the teacher's desk and finally finished school for today. I cycled home as usual, and never once did I think the test would mean something more than a simple test for the grade 8 students. Third person POV. Teacher's Lounge, Franklin Middle School. That's weird. The balding math teacher muttered as he checked his students' answers for the test he had given before this. What is? An African-American biology teacher with a cultural scarf on her head asked. Edward Newgate scored 167 in his IQ test. That's impossible, right? The math teacher asked. Wait. Seriously? The bio teacher snatched Edward's test paper from the math teacher and checked it by herself. I already triple-checked it. That's why I'm confused. The math teacher said. Henderson. You got a little genius in your class. The bio teacher shouted at Edward's homeroom teacher. Turning to the sound of the voice, Mrs. Henderson asked with a calm tone that couldn't be broken by any news she heard, Alex? Or Sanjay? No. It's that Newgate kid. He's a gosh darn genius. I can't even solve some of these questions. The bio teacher was excited and walked hurriedly to Mrs. Henderson to show her Edward's test papers. I see. Good for him. Mrs. Henderson replied casually, causing the bio teacher to forget to shout her mouth. Is he really a genius? I know his results are improving, but that can barely support the genius statement. Another teacher said sarcastically. Wasn't he the one who created his dad's website? I heard rumors about it, but I didn't think that it's true before this. The gossipy English teacher, who's pregnant again for the 5th time, said. So? He's sleeping in my class cause he thinks the lessons are too easy? As if. The math teacher snide before he realized something. Wait. He didn't join any clubs, right? No. He's still not joining anything even after I talked to him, Mrs. Henderson said, her stoic face finally showing a trace of sadness, causing all the other teachers to be baffled. That ungrateful little, just wait, I'm going to make him register with the math club whether he likes it or not. The white knight, balding math teacher finally stood up from his desk to try and comfort the prettiest teacher in the whole school. No.
I will make him join the academic decathlon.
It's next month, and we need another student as one of the participants had transferred school last week. If his IQ is really 167, it will be easy for him to take the transfer student's place. The principal suddenly walked in and joined the conversation. The other teachers that were going to chime in were silenced by the principal's presence. Not because they were afraid of the principal, but the man's charisma had taken over the entire room the moment he walked in. The old, African-American principal with a head full of white hair said, "Anyway, get ready for the retest to make sure that he really is a genius. He needs to join Alex and Sanjay in their training as fast as possible to represent the school." The other teacher nodded at the principal's words and they went to do their own thing. The math teacher and Mrs. Henderson would be responsible for the retest to make sure that Edward's test result was accurate. They also needed to convince him to enter the decathlon, which was the main concern of the teachers as Edward never showed any signs of willingness to participate in a group activity before this.
"Maybe I can get Alex to talk to him," Mrs. Henderson muttered. Edward's POV.
As I returned home, I laid down on the living room sofa and started to text Abby.
Texts. "Edward, are you coming today?" "Abby, what if I'm not?" Smirking face. "Edward, then I'm going to be sad."
"Even the tiramisu I'd made especially for my girlfriend will go to waste." Sneezing face.
"Abby, do you think I'm a small animal that could be tempted by some food offering?" Face with raised eyebrow.
Edward, yeah.
An adorable baby panda.
It suits your color scheme of black and white too. A panda face. I knew that Abby would be furious after I texted her that, but she didn't respond as I expected her to. It was as if she had talked to someone else before replying to my message. "Abby, this baby panda is busy today, so I'm not coming.
You should suffer while I'm not there. Also, send the tiramisu to my house. I'll eat it when I get home." Face with open mouth dashing away.
"Edward, where are you going?"
Thinking face.
"Abby, just someplace with Haley." Shocked, I suddenly sat up from my laying down position and texted Abby back with a bright smile on my face.
"Really? Is she your best friend now?"
"Good for you."
"I'm happy for you." Starstruck.
Abby, fearful face, fearful face.
Abby's POV.
"So, what did he say?"
Haley asked gleefully after we're meeting at the DMV together.
She was only there to get her driving permit while I was here to take a picture for my newly issued license.
"Nothing. He's being idiotic again."
I replied with a panicked look, quickly hiding Edward's last text from Haley even though I showed her everything else. While I was typing with Ed before, she was beside me, giving me guidance for how to make Edward crazy about me.
Haley guessed something from my reactions. "He's talking shit about me, isn't he? How dare he?" Haley's commentary. "Yeah."
When Abby asked me to teach her about it, I had a choice but to reject her. But then I remember what Edward said about liking people based on character, not their reputation. So, I tried talking with Abby, and it turns out, she's kinda awesome? Haley said while sitting cross-legged at her sofa. While crossing her arms, Haley smiled a bit and added, "I understand why Edward is dating her now. She's feisty, hot, smart, but unlike Alex, Abby doesn't put people down when you're talking to her." Albeit dissatisfied, Haley continued, "So yeah. I'm teaching her how to make Edwards crazy. Also, Abby is only going to be here till the summer. So whatever relationship they have, it will be over by the time she goes back to New York."
Haley's commentary ends. "No. He didn't." I hurriedly defended Edward.
If Haley snatched the phone and tried to read the message about her being my first female friend, I would have no choice but to hit her head so hard in hope that she would get an amnesia, and repeat the action if she woke up with her memories intact. Suddenly feeling a chill in the air, Haley didn't continue to pursue the matter and we split up as we needed to stand on different lines. The DMV moved slowly as usual, and we finally met again when the sky was almost dark. "Tara's coming to pick me up and we're going to go to the mall after this? Wanna come? We can give you a makeover," Haley offered after we'd finished each of our things. She failed her driver's test so she couldn't get her license permit. She needed to wait until the summer to take it again.
Why do I need a makeover? I asked in confusion. With the same confusion as me, Haley asked, why don't you want a makeover? Are you going goth your entire life? If I can. Then, yes. I replied honestly. I could see Haley was holding herself back from trying to say something, so I asked, what? Nothing. If you look bad in it, I will try to convince you to change your style. But goth stuff suits you. Haley said. A bit taken aback by the sudden compliment, I said with a flat tone, oh. Thanks. Edward said the same thing before. He also calls me a big titty goth GF, but I didn't know what that meant exactly. Your boobs? Haley asked while leering pervertedly at my low-cut tank top. I got a feeling that it wasn't specific to that. I answered while glancing at her chest that wasn't inferior to my own. So, you're coming or not? Haley asked again. I will, I replied as I was following Haley's advice to leave Edward wanting for me. Little did I know that my little outing was the last thing on Edward's mind at this moment. Edward's POV. I received a call from Jacob to come to his house after Abby ignored my texts. While confused, I took my bike and cycled 15 minutes away from my house to get to where Jacob was living. Jacob lived in a cream-colored, 4-square type house with a few potted plants on his front porch. I knocked on the door after putting my bike in the driveway. Who is it? A high-pitched, sweet voice of his mother asked from inside the house. I'm Edward. Jacob called me. I responded. Then, I heard a rapid sound of footsteps descending from the upper floor, and the sound gets louder as it gets to the door. Jacob opened the door abruptly and pulled me into the house. What's going on? I asked. They are here. Jacob replied with a shaky voice. Who? I asked in confusion. Suddenly, I heard a familiar voice calling for me from the house's kitchen. Hello, Ed. Jenna ran and hugged me from behind, leaving Elsa also talking to Mrs. Green. Dumbfounded by the suddenness of the situation, I turned to ask Jacob for the explanation, but he was already frozen from being in the presence of the girls. Letting out a long sigh, I turned to Jenna and asked, why are you here now? While playing with her hair, Jenna replied, well, we're going to do the homework together. So I thought, why not now? I texted Elsa to ask her to come with me, and brought her here. I don't even have any of my books with me. Nor did I bring a pen. Elsa complained as she joined the conversation. How do you have Jacob's address? I asked again. Jenna avoided my eyes and replied, we're friends from elementary school. I know everyone's home. Jacob's mother walked toward us while wiping her hand with a napkin. Wearing an apron over her modest, Christian outfit of the month pink dress, the 1.6 tall Mrs. Green said, I was surprised when Jacob's friend suddenly showed up. You can go to Jacob's room to study together. Jenna already told me about your homework assignment and how you need privacy to do it. It never even occurred to the Christian mother that getting a bunch of hormonal teenagers inside one closed room would be a bad idea, as she believed that Jacob was such a good boy. When I saw the short mom, all I could think about was the big train going through a small tunnel and cracking it, memed as I knew Jacob's dad was almost 2 meters tall and an ex-football player. We can do it at the dining table or the living room too, Mrs. Green. I said. Nonsense. I need to cook in the kitchen, and Jacob's brother is watching the TV in the living room. Mrs. Green said sweetly. Jacob's 8-year-old brother was watching cartoons at this time, and he was too focused on the TV that he didn't move a bit. As I turned to his brother's direction, I finally saw that it wasn't that his brother was unmoving because he was watching the TV, but because of the girl's presence that he'd frozen on his spot. Jacob's brother was even worse than his brother when it came to girls. Go upstairs and I will bring you some snacks in a minute, Mrs. Green said decisively. Helpless about the matter, I could only follow the group from behind before we finally got into Jacob's room. His room was filled with football players' posters, rare dried plant collections, and also a cute teddy bear on his bed. Jacob widened his eyes as he saw the teddy bear, and he threw the bear quickly through the open window. With a begging eyes, he turned to look at me. Well, there was nothing on the bed when we got in, I muttered. Finally getting the privacy she wanted, Jenna sat on the edge of Jacob's bed and said, "Why don't Edward and I use the bed to do our assignment, while you two use the desk?" "Nah. I think we can all do this together," I said. "Elsa, will you be fine working with Jacob?" I turned to Elsa and asked. She understood what I was talking about, so she replied, "I think we can write what we want to say to one another using a piece of paper." "I see. Maybe I will teach Jacob some sign language after this," I said. "Elsa will find a way. Let's do our work." I brought the book, Jenna said while clinging on my arm, pushing her body towards me repeatedly. To trick Jacob's mom, Jenna did dress a bit modestly, wearing a white sweater and a mini skirt, but she was wearing a knee-high boot so it only revealed a bit of her thigh that passed Mrs. Green judging eyes. "Is it a bit hot in here?" Jenna suddenly said, and then she took off her sweater, revealing the white, paper-thin tube top she was wearing. Of course, she added the fatality towards Jacob by going braless and pulled the top of her clothes in an attempt to cool herself down from the heat. "If you want to lie, do it better. It's 68 degrees, 20 degrees Celsius, here," I said. "Let's do the assignment in an hour. I have a lot of things to do today." As the room was cold, Jenna's nipples started to protrude through the clothes, almost giving Jacob a nosebleed. Elsa stares daggers at him and said, "Oh. So you like big boobs? I thought you only had eyes for me?" Dumbstruck by the statement, Jacob quickly texted Elsa to calm her down. "Jacob, I can't help it. Please don't be mad at me." "Humph." Elsa snorted in anger and started flipping through the pages angrily. Jacob tried to text, write, and even gestured to Elsa to try and calm her down, but nothing was working. While Jacob was trying his best to get closer to Elsa, I was trying hard to keep Jenna away from me. She removed her boots because, in her words, she didn't want to get Jacob's bed dirty from the shoes. "Ed, come on, lay down next to me," Jenna said, trying to get me to get up on the bed while I was sitting on the floor next to the bed, trying to do the work as fast as I could. "How about your tutoring, Jenna? Did you give up on that?" I asked without looking at her direction. Pouting her cheek, Jenna slid closer to me and whispered to my ear. "I want to, but the tutors that come to my house had all been eaten by my mom. No one survived, men or women. So how do I study?" I knew she was trying to arouse a reaction from me, so I ignored her dirty talk and said, "Copy this paragraph for me." Jenna was a bit irked at my response and she turned toward Jacob and Elsa's direction. Even without saying anything, Jenna saw Jacob was trying his hardest to get Elsa's attention, and jealousy bubbled up inside her as she wanted me to do the same thing for her. "Elsa, tell Jacob about your first kiss," Jenna suddenly said. Elsa turned to her and said, "What are you, crazy?" You know. Elsa never had her first kiss before this. She said she was waiting for someone special. Jenna said, trying to instigate her friend even more. "So Jacob, do you want to kiss me? Or her?" Jenna suddenly asked, causing the atmosphere in the room to turn weird. I noticed that Elsa got a bit hurt by her friend's words, so I decided to step in. "You're waiting for someone special, Elsa? That's great, 'cause we have something in common." What? Elsa was a bit taken aback by my statement, but then she replied with some embarrassment, "You know, you only get your first kiss once." "Nah. When you get with a new guy and kiss him, it will be your first kiss too," Jenna said. Jacob. The offer still stands. Stop trying to cause some trouble and do your work, I said a bit sternly toward Jenna. "Why should I? I truly want to kiss Jacob. I think he's hot," Jenna said mischievously and slid through the bed to walk toward Jacob. "Sure. Kiss him then," I said. Jenna was stunned and she turned back to me. "What?" I said. "Kiss him. Jacob, good for you. You're finally going to get your first kiss. Do you want me to give you and Jenna some privacy?" Ed, are you crazy? Elsa widened her eyes in shock. What? Jenna wants to do it, so just let her do it. Well, I'm not doing it now, Jenna said and crawled back to the bed. I heard her mutter in a tiny voice, "Can't you be a little bit jealous?" But honestly, I couldn't care less if she wanted to go to town on Jacob right then and there. All I want right now was to finish the work here and return home to continue building the Pritchett's Closet system and website so that I could get the money. Jenna didn't even mind trying to use her friend to get a boy jealous. She didn't even care if she had hurt Elsa deeply, as her friend had told her before that Jacob might be the special someone she might have shared her first kiss with, but Jenna didn't even care about it and tried to take Jacob's first kiss on her own. I saw some tears in Elsa's eyes, and I wondered why Elsa put up with her friend's bratty antics. Jacob was also useless in the matter, so I walked up to the couple while Jenna was copying what I told her to copy. I pulled Jacob away from Elsa and said, "Jacob, you're a little bitch if you can't even comfort Elsa when she's hurt like this. I may have a solution for your problem, do you want to hear it?" Jacob nodded furiously after I told him that. "Okay. Go to the fridge and grab a can of your dad's beer." Jacob shook his head furiously in objection, so I said again, "Do you want to say something to Elsa using your own voice or not? Don't you want to show her that you really like her?" Jacob hesitated for a while before he ran toward the door and to the kitchen to grab the beer. In less than 2 minutes, Jacob returned with a can of beer. I opened the beer and took a sip. Nice. It's all frosty. Now, you try. He shook his head again, so I said, "This is a gamble. Maybe you can speak to her after this, maybe you don't. If you really like her, you will take the chance." It was a tiny room, so Elsa and Jenna heard everything that I had said. Jenna looked at the whole situation with extreme interest, while Elsa kept pretending she didn't hear anything even when her heart had responded by palpitating quickly in anticipation. Jacob looked at Elsa's direction with a determined look on his face. Then, he snatched the beer from my hand and started taking big gulps of the drink. "Nothing is happening, Edward," Jacob said after the alcohol started to kick in. It was his first drink after all, and he didn't have any resistance to it. "Even though I want to tell Elsa how pretty she looks today, I don't think I can ever do it. What is wrong with me, Edward? Why am I like this?" Jacob asked and took another gulp. He staggered next to Elsa and said, "I really like you. You're the most beautiful girl that I ever met in my life." Elsa was flabbergasted by Jacob's Casanova wordings, but she was more excited that Jacob was finally talking to her. While sitting on the desk studying together, Elsa finally turned to look at Jacob's direction for the first time today. "Duda. You're talking now," Elsa said. "No. I can't talk to you. You make my mind go numb. And my heart was filled with butterflies the moment I laid my eyes on you for the first time. I thought the feeling will go away when I see you next, but it wouldn't go away, Kazi. You're pretty every single day." Jacob started to slur his words, so I knew that the boy had gotten a bit drunk. He suddenly traced Elsa's lip with his finger. "I'm sad, I can never kiss this lip in my life." "Elsa. What are you doing?" "Kiss him," Jenna said in excitement. Even though Elsa wanted to do it, she had never kissed anyone before and was feeling a bit afraid inside. Then, her eyes turned to the liquid courage that Jacob used to finally be able to talk to her. She snatched the half-empty can of beer from Jacob's hand and downed a few big gulps of the beer. Finally, she got the courage that she wanted. "Kiss me," Elsa said decisively. "What?" Jacob couldn't understand what was going on, so Elsa said again, "This is a dream. You can kiss me here." "I can kiss you here?" Jacob smiled brightly and inches his face closer toward Elsa before giving her a peck on the cheek. He giggled like a kid after he said that, and he slammed his head on the desk study, finally out for the count. "Ah. Lightweight," I said, and I took the can of beer from the desk before I finished it all. Jenna saw that I had been drinking and she walked right up to me. "Ed, this is a dream too. Won't you kiss me?" "Piss off," I said and threw the beer can out of the window.
It landed next to the teddy bear that Jacob had thrown, so if anyone saw the teddy bear they would only think that it was an alcoholic teddy bear living like a hobo in the house's lawn.
Wait. Why do I suddenly feel ominous? I muttered.
Then, I heard footsteps approaching the room, and I finally remembered that Jacob's mom wanted to bring some snacks for us.
Oh shit. I cursed and walked to Jacob. I slapped his face urgently and called out, "Dude. Wake up. Dude. It's too late now." His mom had already entered the room. "Hi. Are you all doing okay?" "We're fine, Mrs. Green," I answered. Is Jacob sleeping?" Mrs. Green walked toward the desk study. Elsa retreated from there, leaving me alone with Jacob. "Jacob. Hun. Why are you sleeping while all of your friends are working?" Mrs. Green said and shook Jacob's body gently to wake him up. "Oh, Elsa. I want to kiss you, on the lips." Jacob muttered with his eyes still closing. "WWW what?" Mrs. Green stammered in shock. "Jacob. Get up now." His mother shouted to wake him up as she thought that her son was having some inappropriate dream. Jacob finally straightened his back and he turned toward his mother. He lunged toward his mother and said excitedly, "Elsa." "Oh shit." I tried to push Mrs. Green away, but it was too late. Jacob grabbed his mother's face forcefully and gave her a deep kiss on the lips. The room became dead silent afterward. "I'm going to go now," Jenna said, already dressed modestly again, and she pulled Elsa to run away together. "I'm going to go too," I muttered, and I followed the girls from behind while silently giving a prayer to the fallen comrade. When I heard some puking sounds on the floor, I was already out of the front door. 200 meters away from the house, I finally realized, shit, I forgot the assignment. Chapter 32, Abby's Basic Instinct Seduction. Friday came quickly, and Jacob hasn't been to school since the accident before. When I called him, his father said that his mom had sent him to a church for an exorcism and Jacob needed some time to rest to get better. Fortunately, they didn't seem to think about sending Jacob further away and he would get back to school next week. When I returned home, I received a call from Manny the minute I walked through the front door. "Hello?" I answered the telephone in confusion. "Hello? Edward. Do you want to come to Jay's house today? Mom is making some empanada," Manny asked from the other line. "I actually need to do some work, Manny, so I can't. I need to finish up the lyrics and melody for the songs I'm going to record tomorrow," I replied casually. "Oh," Manny replied, a bit taken aback by my rejection. "Is there something else you want to talk to me about?" I asked with some concerns. I knew that Manny's relationship with Jay was a bit strained in the early episodes, but seeing it with my own eyes and the TV was two totally separate things. At least on TV a true issue was covered with some comedic relief so that people wouldn't get too uncomfortable watching it. "No. My dad is coming to take me to Disneyland this Saturday." "Have you gone to Disneyland before?" Manny asked, deflecting my question. "You know what? I actually haven't. When you get back, make sure to tell me all about it so that I can experience it too." Manny said excitedly, "Okay, sure. Also, Mom said if you want some empanadas, she can send it to your house." "Yes, please. I'll leave the front door unlocked. If I didn't respond when you're here, I must be in the zone and I can't hear you, so just walk in without any concerns about it." "Okay. I got it." After talking with Manny for a while, I finally started on the songs. Even when I got the experience of performing live in front of a massive crowd, recording my own album still gave me the jitters. Putting my guitar up, I started to pick the guitar strings while humming the melody of the song I wanted to record tomorrow. Sitting on the living room sofa with a pencil in my hand as I figured out the notes and wrote it on a piece of paper, I wore headphones to shut off all the other noises for me to focus. I sang the first verse of the song when I finished writing the melody on a piece of paper. First things first, I must say all the words inside my head. I'm fired up and tired of the way that things have been, Second thing second, don't you tell me what you think that I could be. I'm the one at the sail, I'm the master of my sea, the master of my sea, dash. Hey! Why is your front door unlocked? Abby suddenly appeared out of nowhere, scaring the baby Jesus out of me. Holy shit! I took off my headphones as I stood up, my face froze as I looked at her. What? You're scared of your girlfriend? Abby asked teasingly. The goth girl went easy with her makeup today. She didn't even wear her black lipstick and only wore a shiny lip gloss instead. Her hair was tied with a twin tail style using cute, panda scrunchies. But the one thing that shocked me the most was her low-cut, one-piece, plain black dress. What? Abby asked in confusion after she saw me checking her out from top to bottom. Nothing. You just look really hot today. I complimented her. Abby played with her hair and avoided my gaze while blushing hard. So, step 1 is complete, she thought to herself. After learning a few things from Haley, Abby decided to test it out on me even though she wasn't ready yet as per Haley's standard. So if you don't come here with your black lipstick, you have learned from the last mistake and won't let anyone know about our makeout session today? I teased. Abby paused, stared at my lips with a seductive gaze, and said, "What if I am?" Gulping my saliva, I moved closer toward Abby while still keeping eye contact. Although I need to work, but I had no choice but to sacrifice a bit dash. Abby suddenly turned and sat down at the sofa. Crossing her legs seductively, she crossed her arms and said, "No. I don't want to be the girl who can't understand his boyfriend's needs. You should continue. I will just watch you." Step 2, complete. Abby thought as she saw my disappointed eyes. Always leave him wanting for more, that was what Haley told her. Too bad. I muttered and sat next to Abby. She smirked mischievously as she stared at me. Picking up my guitar again, I continued what I was doing before. By the way, you're coming to my concert, right? I asked. Abby's face turned into confusion. What concert? Next week, Sunday. I'll have a concert in Santa Barbara. I'll be the opening act for the music festival there, I said casually. Abby widened her eyes in shock and said hurriedly, "Are you kidding me?" Now, it was my turn to smirk mischievously. Nope. I got VVIP tickets, so will you come? Who else have you invited? Abby asked as she grabbed onto my arm. Turning toward her, I said lovingly, "You're the first. You're always the first." She didn't expect the sudden attack, and she tried to hide her blushing face by turning away from me. Damn it. He's too smooth, she thought. Stop hiding your face when you blush. You're too cute to do that, I said and pulled her face towards me again gently. Double attack. Damn it. Now the score is back to 0. Abby thought as her heart palpitates quickly when I flirted with her. Anyway. What is the song you're singing just now? Is it a new song? Abby quickly changed the subject as the atmosphere was heating up. Yeah. It is called, Just the Way You Are. Want to hear it? Play it. Abby said, finally breathed in relief as her heart calmed down a little bit. I am a bit embarrassed to play this in front of the girl I am writing it for, I said shyly while scratching my cheek. Wait? For me? Abby asked in both disbelief and excitement. Playing the tune of the song, Just the Way You Are, I started to serenade Abby. Edward.
Oh, her eyes make the stars look like they're not shining. Her hair falls perfectly without her trying. She's so beautiful, and I tell her every day.
Fully blushing, Abby cupped her mouth and nose while she listened intently to the song.
Yeah, I know, when I compliment her she won't believe me. And it's so sad to think that she don't see what I see. But every time she asks me, do I look okay, I say,
Okay, stop. I can't take it anymore.
Abby said, fully embarrassed that I had used our experience together as a song lyric. However, there was no chance I would stop singing before I got to the chorus.
When I see your face, there's not a thing that I would change, 'cause you're amazing, just the way you are. And when you smile, the whole world stops and stares for a while, 'cause girl, you're amazing.
As she didn't tell me to continue this time, I continued.
Just the way you are. Yeah. Her lips, I could kiss them all day if she'd let me.
Perv. Abby muttered while laughing.
Catching her eyes again, I continued.
Her laugh, she hates but I think it's so sexy.
She cupped her mouth to silence her laugh and hit me in the arm. Our faces were leaning toward each other, and the melody slowed.
She's so beautiful, and I tell her every day. Oh, you know, I never ask you to change. If perfect's what you're searching for, then just stay the same.
As I was stopping the song to kiss Abby, suddenly the nice atmosphere that was going to earn me another kiss was broken again. Ayy, that's wonderful. Gloria suddenly popped out and squealed in excitement. Abby lunged toward the end of the sofa to get out of Gloria's line of sight. Well, we didn't mean to interrupt. Manny said quickly. You might want to at least close the door if you're not going to lock it. I swear I saw a raccoon trying to get inside before. Wait, what? I stood up urgently. Also, when did you guys come in? Did you mean what verse of the song? Manny asked. Why is she still trying to hide? I was here before the song even began. Gloria said and pointed towards Abby, who's still lying down in embarrassment on the sofa. Yeah. We're here from the start. Here are the empanadas. You can both enjoy it. Manny said teasingly. Both Manny and Gloria laugh, making Abby feel more miserable. Kill me now, Abby said while hiding her face behind her hands. Manny and Gloria didn't stay too long afterward, and they returned home quickly to give us more privacy. This time, I made sure to lock the door and ensure that no one else would distract us. Did they leave? Abby asked. Yeah. They'd left. I replied and sat in the middle seat of the sofa while Abby was still lying down. Who are they? Abby asked after calming down a bit. Hard to explain. Gloria is Haley's step-grandmother. I said after thinking about their family's relationship. Oh. She's very beautiful. Abby said. Don't feel threatened. You're still the most beautiful girl in my eyes. I teased. Abby got mad and grabbed me from behind. While clinging on my back, she bit my neck and said, I'm not threatened. Sure. I said and pushed her down on the sofa while leaning close to her face. Before she could do anything, I cupped her lips with mine and said, now that there are no more distractions, why don't we finish what we started before? By this time, Abby had already forgotten Haley's teaching. How could she still play hard to get when I had created a song, just to tell her that she was the most beautiful girl in the world? Shut up and kiss me. Abby said and pulled the back of my head. We kissed passionately for a while on the sofa before I moved toward her neck. While moaning, Abby said, this seems to be heading in a bad direction. We don't have to do anything that you're not comfortable with. I said. No. I said bad, not wrong. Abby smirked and ran her hands under my shirt, getting a feel of my body. She continued sucking on my neck that I was sure that I would be getting a hickey afterward. After we had fun, doing things that a couple will do without going all the way in the living room and inside my room, Abby was fixing her mascara while I got dressed. This dress is ruined. Abby said sadly while looking at her crumpled black dress. I'll make a special dress just for you after this. I said to Abby and kissed her cheek. She brightened up and walked around my room to look at the designs I had on the walls.
This? An air fryer?
They created it in Germany, but it is useless.
Abby asked after she recognized the designs. Yeah.
I'm trying to upgrade the rapid hot air technology.
Sounds fun, Abby said with glistening eyes.
Then, she realized that it would take a long time to do it, and lowered her head slightly. Raising her chin upwards, I said, "Don't worry.
If you want to create it with me, I don't mind even doing it across the country." Nah. Why would I make it?
This is yours.
You should do it,
Abby said and pushed the papers into my hand.
Smiling wryly, I said, "Okay. If you don't want to participate, that's fine.
But as my girlfriend, you can be there when I fiddle with the tech, and you're entitled to give me your opinion even when I didn't ask for it.
Do you understand? Girlfriend?" She smiled brightly again and hugged me over the neck.
Of course. I'm your girlfriend after all.
Laughing a bit, I said, "Okay. Now, you need to fix your makeup.
Otherwise your mom will definitely know what you did over here." Even though I was enjoying my time with Abby, that feeling when I realized she wouldn't stay in LA afterward was like a small thorn in an otherwise beautiful relationship. The thorn wouldn't interfere much in your life, but it would hurt if the topic was touched.
Want to eat dinner here? I asked. No. I should be getting back now.
Also, did you talk to your dad about borrowing the car?
Abby asked. Yeah.
He will hitch a ride with his crew member who lives nearby. We should start driving to the desert at 10 a.m. as the crew will be there at 12.
Okay. By the way, Haley is coming with us tomorrow, Abby said unexpectedly. Why? I asked in confusion. You know. Girlfriend privilege, Abby teased. I chuckled a bit and said, "Do whatever you want."
After Abby had returned to her house, I used my post-nut clarity to finish my work that was postponed and finished writing a few more songs for me to record for an album tomorrow. I do need to finalize the royalty agreement with Pepper tomorrow before starting to record. I made a silent note inside my mind before I went to sleep. The next morning started early. For the recording session today, I had worn an outfit that I had created myself. A slim-fit nylon bomber jacket on top of a black shirt tucked in inside a long, black pant with Adidas style, 3 colored lines on the pant, a black, white, and beige. I paired it with a 3-colored belt that followed the same color scheme as the belt, and on top of my jacket, on the left chest, a huge E.N logo made of the same color scheme was sewn on. With my hair slicked back, I put on my white shoes and walked out of the house. Abby was waiting for me outside wearing a shoulderless, puff-sleeve, black and white dress with a matching beret on her head. Haley was staring at Abby in dissatisfaction as I walked out. I didn't know why. "Hi. Thank you for the dress. It's really beautiful," Abby said after she jogged lightly and embraced me in front of Haley. It looks really great on you," I muttered as I admired her beauty. Abby gave me a little twirl as she was too excited to get a present from me early this morning. She hugged me again and whispered to my ears, "Thank you. You can expect something from me today. I will give you permission to do that." I whispered back, "After watching me sing today, just make sure to keep it in your pants and don't pounce on me in the studio." She hit my chest lightly and giggled. "Okay. I'll try my best. You guys are going to ignore me all day?" Haley suddenly chimed in. She wore an oversized white blouse and had the same aesthetic as us as she matched the blouse with a tight, black mini skirt and black leggings. "Your outfits look good too, Haley," I said to the lonely woman. As we rode on my dad's Prius, I struck a conversation with Haley. She was adamant to sit in front while I sat at the back seat and Abby was the one driving. "Dylan contacted you after you guys broke up?" I asked. Haley shook her head in disgust and said, "He tried to. But, Madeline told me he got chlamydia from partying on a boat with some old woman." "Wait. He slept with the cougars?" I asked in astonishment.
I warned him about that before. Haley said angrily, you know about that? Yeah.
He was working on my dad's ship. I give him a part-time job because his car is broken.
He's been working there for a few days now. Ugh. You should drown him in the sea. Haley said.
I shook my head now as I knew that there was no chance that Dylan would manage to steal back Haley's heart in the near future as she was too disgusted with him.
I wonder if they lured him with food.
I muttered as I thought about how the thing happened. Stop talking about him or I'll tell my mom about it.
Haley threatened while glancing at me and Abby, seemingly already knowing what had happened between us yesterday.
I didn't know why, the flimsy threat shook my soul.
Okay, I won't talk to him. Let's talk about something else.
An hour ride felt short as I kept conversing with the two girls.
Abby then said, shouldn't you rest your voice? You need to sing after this.
Haley's face turned ashen and she admonished me quickly, why the hell did you talk so much?
It's okay. I needed to warm up my voice box. Talking casually is fine. Screaming loudly would hurt it.
Oh.
Okay then. Abby said.
By the way, did you guys have sex last night?
Haley suddenly asked.
Abby was taken aback and swerved the car, almost causing us to have an accident.
With a stunned and horrified expression, Abby said, "No. We didn't." Haley nodded and then asked again after Abby had calmed down, did you do something else, but not sex? Haley. Stop trying to kill us. What's with the question anyway? I asked quickly and held Abby's shoulder to calm her down.
You know, when a couple friends of mine had done it, they couldn't resist putting their hands on each other the next day, like you guys did this morning.
Although Haley's instinct was terrifying, I shook my head and said, that's just how we are. Don't be jealous when you don't have a boyfriend of your own. I'm not jealous. Haley said with a weird high-pitched voice. Haley's commentary.
Staring at the screen while trying to hide what she truly felt, Haley said, I'm jealous.
Commentary end. Chapter 33, Album Recording. Third-person POV. Whitebird Crew Office. 9 a.m.
As Ted had come to work today, he sighed at the packed schedule he had for the ship.
I want to go and see Edward's recording session. Ted sighed in his heart. Hello, are you the ship's captain?
Suddenly, a tall, African/Samoan American man with buff muscular stature walked up to Ted.
Wait. Are you the little Johnson? Ted asked curiously while looking at the bald man. Yes, I am.
Johnson smiled and both men shook their hands forcefully with one another. He could see some tattoos on the man's left chest, and even though the man was smiling kindly, Ted couldn't help but to be a little bit intimidated by the man, not because of his muscle, but Ted's training in the Navy had warned him that the man in front of him was one of similar training as him.
Military? Johnson asked. Navy.
Oh, where did you serve?
On the East Coast.
You know, when my son looked at your picture, he spat his drink and lost his composure for the first time ever. Ted suddenly said as his instinct was telling him the man could be trusted.
Oh. Really? How old is he? Johnson asked.
Suddenly, a blonde woman who came to the pier with her husband and her 10-year-old sons interjected into the conversation.
He's 14.
Claire said from afar.
Oh hey Claire. Ted turned to the sound of the voice, finally releasing his handshake with Johnson. Why are you here? I came here to look around. Claire said. And also check up on the potential captain. Phil muttered underneath his breath.
Claire turned to him and asked while still maintaining the facade of a coincidental encounter to Ted.
You want to stay in the car? No ma'am. Phil replied seriously. Luke turned to Johnson and said, Edward's the Grand Captain by the way. Edward? Johnson was confused by the sudden intrusion.
He thought that the boy had mistaken something, but then Claire, Phil, and Ted nodded at the same time.
Ted's son. Claire explained to Johnson, causing him to finally nod in understanding. That's true.
Also, he broke composure.
Why? Phil asked curiously. It was rare to see Edward being panicked or losing his composure, so the Dunphys were intrigued by the conversation. This might sound racist, but he yelled, "Black Adam," by the time he saw your resume. Ted explained. While Claire was feeling iffy, Luke suddenly turned to Johnson and studied him while looking at him up and down. Yeah. He's Black Adam. Luke suddenly said. Luke! Claire called out in a horrified tone, wondering if racism could be infected on others. You mean, the comic book hero? Phil asked Luke, causing Claire to realize that she had been overreacting. Ah. He'd called me that? That is really nice of him. Johnson said, flattered as he was compared to a superhero by a boy. A bit unsatisfied by his son calling others a hero, Ted asked, so Johnson dash. Please. Sir. Just call me Dwayne. Dwayne Johnson said. /N. Kevin Hart is Phil's neighbor in this universe, so I guess The Rock could be an ordinary ship captain, right? So Dwayne, tell me more about yourself. Are you familiar with the sea routes around here? Yes, sir. I am familiar with all of this. When can you start? Ted asked. To be honest with you, I can start today. Dwayne replied confidently. Ted paused for a moment as he started to think. Well, you really know about the sea routes around here? Ted asked again for confirmation. Dwayne chuckled as he understood Ted's suspicion, or what he thought was suspicion. I got a Navy Distinguished Achievement Medal for my 5th year of working, sir. I would not lie. But you got dishonorably discharged. Ted said. Dwayne opened his mouth, but he couldn't refute it. Ted suddenly called the woman beside him while Dwayne was looking dejected. Hey Claire. Do we still have the spare captain's uniform in storage? Although taken aback, Claire replied, yeah. We do. I see. I mean Dwayne. The clothes will be a bit tight, but can you start today? Ted asked, shocking Claire and Dwayne both while Phil and Luke just smiled in support. Ted. I mean. Captain. He didn't have the training, nor did he know the crew yet. Claire said hurriedly. He will get to know them when he works with them. It'll be fine. Ted said. Dwayne was shocked as even though his resume was filled with flying colors, the dishonorably discharged label had cost him to fail more than 100 interviews before this, if he had managed to convince them to give him an interview in the first place. Yes, sir. Are you serious? Dwayne asked in disbelief. Yes, Captain, are you serious? Claire asked anxiously. Phil brought Luke away from his wife and they stood overlooking the ocean together. The sea is nice, right, Luke? Phil asked. Yes, Dad. I wonder if a seagull ever gets tired of flying in the sea. You know, when there is no land nearby. Luke asked. Then, Phil and Luke started a conversation together that included submarines, sea monsters, mermaids, and even pirate treasures. Yes. I am serious. After all, the Grand Captain was the one who asked him to come here. Ed also wants me to hear your story first before deciding, but I know that you're not the type to get dishonorably discharged, so I'll put my trust in you. How could you possibly know? How could you possibly know that, sir? Captain. Claire tried to be polite, but she just couldn't comprehend the thought process of the father and son. My story, sir? You're the first one to ever ask me that. Dwayne said, visibly touched by Ted's kindness and trust in him. If you're uncomfortable with it, you don't have to tell me. Ted said comfortingly while Claire was taken aback at the side. No. I think, I can tell you, Dwayne said. After taking a deep breath, he finally shared his secret. When I was serving, I had a relationship with my superior officer. We dated for 2 years without anyone knowing. That seems hardly a dishonorably discharged type offense. Claire interjected. Yeah. But once the others finds out, my partner blamed me and said that I had sexually assaulted him. I'm sorry. Him? Claire asked again 'cause she couldn't believe her ears. Yes. Him. Dwayne answered honestly.
Ted placed his hand on Dwayne's shoulder and said, "I'm sorry that the Navy's bigotry had destroyed your life like this.
You can start today, right?
If you can, I want to go to my son's recording session and watch him sing."
Really?
Sir.
You're not joking, right? Dwayne asked again. I really am.
But if you don't want the job dash.
No. I really want the job.
Dwayne said hurriedly.
Okay.
I'll let you meet the rest of the crew first before I go.
Ted said. Captain. I can do that.
Claire suddenly offered. Then, she realized something. Wait.
Ed is recording for what? His album. He didn't tell you about this?
But he went together with Haley.
Ted asked in confusion. Your son is a singer? Dwayne asked.
Yes, the best one too.
Ted replied proudly. Phil.
Suddenly, Claire called Phil. Phil and Luke snapped out of their dreamland after hearing the call from Claire and lightly jogged to her position.
What is it? Phil asked. Did you know Ed is recording his album today? Claire asked. Yeah. He told me.
Phil replied casually, causing Claire to get hot-tempered. So why don't you tell me?
I thought you knew.
Haley told me she had already told you where she's going.
I thought you'd already known.
Phil defended himself quickly.
I need a car.
Ted muttered as he had hitched a ride with someone else to come here today.
You can take my car. Dwayne offered. It's a 2003 Camry. It can't go fast, but it can take you where you want to go.
Really?
Thanks. Ted was glad by the offer and took it quickly. We're going there, Phil.
Claire said decisively.
Claire. You can handle the introduction, right?
Ted asked suddenly, causing Claire to lose her angry face and became a meek little teacher's pet.
She said instinctively, yes.
I will handle it, Captain. Luke and Phil stared at Claire in disbelief after seeing her turning back on her words. We'll go, after I introduce Dwayne to the crew.
Claire said.
But, she never did have the chance to stop working that day and had to give up on trying to go watch Edward's recording session.
Edward's POV.
Finally, we arrive at the recording studio on the edge of the desert. It wasn't that far from the city, but it took us an hour to arrive as it was in the opposite part of the city. It looked like an ordinary warehouse from the outside, then there was a sign in front that said Entertain Earworm Studio, so I knew I was in the right place.
Abby parked the Prius next to a Mercedes convertible belonging to Pepper. A couple black sedans and a hippie van were also parked there, so I guessed everyone was here now. My mom is asking where I am now. She already knew about the recording.
Haley said with a helpless face as she exited the car.
I turned to her with a confused face. Didn't she already know?
How the hell did you get permission to come here if she didn't know?
Silenced by the sudden questioning, Haley stammered and said, Dad. I told Dad about it.
Then, you left your mom in the dark.
That's brave of you?
I muttered teasingly as I opened Abby's driver door and escorted her out by holding her hand. Haley grunted in jealousy and stampeded off to the recording studio front door.
What's up with her?
Abby asked as she fixed her dress.
I don't know. Scared of the consequences, I think. I replied.
While holding hands, Abby and I walked toward the front door and stopped where Haley had stopped.
It needs a password to enter.
Haley said, pointed at the number pad on the side of the door.
Let me. Abby said and punched in the number, 800855135. The door opened automatically after she pressed the enter key.
I still thought the passcode was juvenile. Abby said in disdain.
The last owner is a teen. So what do you expect?
I replied and walked into the studio with the girls. I was greeted by a hug from a well-dressed, short man wearing a Godfather suit and a flashy scarf on his neck.
You're finally here,
Pepper said excitedly. A tall, handsome lawyer in a suit buttoned his jacket as she stood beside Pepper. She's not pretty, but she was really handsome.
Wait. Am I late? But you said to come at 2. It's only 12:30. No. Didn't I text you to come at 12? Pepper asked in confusion.
I took out my phone from my pocket and showed him that he texted me to come at 2 p.m.
Ah. I must have forgotten to press the number 1. Pepper said in realization. Sometimes I just type without thinking much. It's okay. I came early, didn't I? I asked with a grin. And this is? I turned to the handsome female lawyer and asked.
With a stature like a model, the pixie-cut female lawyer introduced herself.
Harvey. Harvey Specter. Edward Newgate.
I said and shook her hand. The name caused me to be taken aback a bit, but she didn't look anything like the male character in the TV series I had watched before in my previous life. I know who you're, Mr. Newgate. A musical prodigy that will take the world by storm. Harvey smiled softly and released her hand. Before I could refute her, she said, I'm here to settle the contract signing and to be the witness.
Let's move over to the meeting room.
As we entered the studio, the 80s-style interior design and the professional-grade control panel caught my eyes. There was a long couch behind the producer and music engineer seat, and it was also the place where Abby and Haley would wait. I saw some professional musicians inside the soundproof recording room, testing the sound quality of the instruments there together with the music engineer. You girls should stay here, I said to Abby and Haley. Don't you want me there for support? Abby asked seductively. You know the law? I asked. No, Abby said and gave up trying to enter. Not that I didn't want her to be at my side, but the meeting room was small. Nearby the pantry, there was a meeting room with only 6 seats inside. Following the lawyer's lead, I was greeted by the familiar-looking lawyer as I entered. Hello, Edward, Mitchell said with a wry smile while facing Pepper's entire legal team alone. Yes, I had hired Mitchell to take a look at the contract. He had studied the contract ever since Pepper had given it to him a week ago, and he had been negotiating on my behalf ever since. You look awful, Mitchell, I greeted. Well, nice to meet you too, Mitchell snarked sarcastically in a tired voice. Lily is waking up at night? I asked. Yes. She still needs to adapt to the time difference. Usually when we're sleeping, she's awake, and vice versa. Mitchell explained. There is no problem with the contract. In fact, it's very advantageous for you. Pepper is being generous here, Mitchell said. That's for him to decide. Harvey interjected. Please sit down, Mr. Newgate. I sat down next to Mitchell and I started to read the contract Pepper had created. By the way, Eddie, Harvey here is going to be the official lawyer for the company. You can even spit toward the crowd or get caught possessing an illegal substance, not that I'm cordoning you to do those things, but Harvey here could get you out of almost anything. I kinda know about it. She looks very dependable, I said. Are you flirting with me, Mr. Newgate? Harvey teased. If you were. It's working, she said, licking her lower lips seductively. Mitchell rolled his eyes at his friend from his college days and said, Back off, cougar, or I'll spray you with a hose. Harvey shrugged while I chuckled. My eyes widened as I continued reading the contract. 22% royalties? You know that even Taylor Swift has 20%, right? I asked in astonishment after I read about Pepper's generosity. Before Harvey could say anything, Pepper spoke up. I'm doing all of this, just for you, he said, pointing at the entire studio. In fact, you will hold 20% of the shares inside the company before you're 18, and 40% after. Pepper. I widened my eyes in shock. What? This is a fair deal on my behalf. It's not like I need the money. I already have enough on my own, Pepper said gleefully.
This is the time you say thank you instead of fighting me on this. Losing my words, I take a moment to think about the matter, then turn to Pepper with a determined look on my face. I will make sure that you won't regret this. In fact, I will make you the most influential man in the entire music industry by the time I'm done with this. That's such a big word. Can you really do it? Pepper instigated with a smile on his face. I smirked and I said, yeah. I can. The entire group of lawyers there was taken aback by my confidence. Although most of them thought that it was just a kid's daydream, people such as Mitchell, Harvey, and Pepper couldn't help but see a vision of the future as I announced my promise. Pepper smiled and put his hand on my shoulder. I don't need much. You should do whatever you want to do. Just don't lose sight of yourself when you're famous and lose what makes Edward. I understand. I replied. We signed the contract and now, I have officially become the sole artist of the entire company. Not first, but sole. The entire company was created just for me, and it would only belong to me. That was what Pepper promised. Am I late? Ted arrived at the studio at 2:30 p.m. because the car tire popped en route. No. He's just starting. Abby said excitedly as she pointed at me behind the glass wall. Wearing headphones on my head, I held a ukulele and took a deep breath. Why are you still here? Mitchell asked Harvey. All the other lawyers had already returned to their firm to finalize the contract, but Harvey kept lingering around. Why can't I be here? I'm a lawyer here. You're the one whose presence is weird. He had already signed. We don't need you here anymore. Harvey admonished. Mitchell opened his mouth to refute, but I started to strum the ukulele string, attracting the attention of all the people there. A song that would become the trigger for Haley's change. Toxic Boy with Uke. Edward.
All my friends are toxic, all ambitionless, so rude and always negative. I need new friends, but it's not that quick and easy, or I'm drowning, let me breathe.
What? Haley widened her eyes as the song's meaning caught her off guard. It was as if the beginning was aimed directly for people like her. Edward.
I'm better off all by myself, though I'm feeling kinda empty without somebody else. So I hear you crying out for help, but you never showed for me when I was ringing your cell phone. No, you don't know how it feels to be alone, baby. Oh, I'll make you know, I'll make you know.
Pepper took a deep breath and said to Mitchell. You want to know why I'm not letting him be left alone now? I do. He's mimicking toxic people. In the end, he will become like them. I mean, in the lyrics. I still don't know if Edward is writing this based on him or anyone else. Mitchell said. Edward, I'm
drowning, let me breathe. I'm drowning, let me breathe. I'm drowning, let me breathe. I'm drowning, let me breathe.
Ted needed to sit down as he heard the song, as he knew perfectly who I was referring to in the song. He is begging. Abby said, her eyes started to be glassy. Damn it. I heard this song before, why am I still emotional now? She muttered to herself. Edward.
But life is immaculate, backing it up a bit, counting my hours and knocking on wood.
A little bit of luck, huh? Ted muttered.
Avoiding my opposites, chewing on chocolate. Had a bit limited time, but I should be good for a minute. Don't want to admit it, I'm running on seconds, I'm rigid, I'm screwed. Don't know what to do, I'm thinking of you. I'm drinking up bottles and bottles of booze.
Thank God Mom isn't here. Haley muttered as she heard the last bit. Ted turned to look at Haley weirdly, wondering why Edward should fear her mom rather than his own dad. I need to lock up my liquor cabinet better. Ted muttered to himself. I continued singing despite the myriad of reactions the song received. Instead of me using my future knowledge to create a song, Toxic was one of the original songs the previous me had created before my otherworld knowledge became active. It contained all of the parts of my life that I wanted someone else to hear about.
I'm better off all by myself, though I'm feeling kinda empty without somebody else. So I hear you crying out for help, but you never showed for me when I was ringing your cell phone. No, you don't know how it feels to be alone, baby. Oh, I'll make you know, I'll make you know. I fell into your river, that's where you told me lies. You said that I'd feel better, but this is where good guys die. You took my pride away, but you cannot take my life. I'll find another way out, but now you're taking my life.
Ted rubbed his forehead, wondering if he needed to do something about my mental state.
Don't you see how I'm better off all by myself, though I'm feeling kinda empty without somebody else. So I hear you crying out for help, but you never showed for me when I was ringing your cell phone. No, you don't know how it feels to be alone, baby. Oh, I'll make you know, I'll make you know. I'm better off all by myself, though I'm feeling kinda empty without somebody else. So I hear you crying out for help, but you never showed for me when I was ringing your cell phone. No, you don't know how it feels to be alone, baby. Oh, I'll make you know, I'll make you know.
Finishing the song, I took a step back from the microphone. When the music engineer gave me a thumbs up, I finally said, "How is it?" Pressing the button on the control panel to speak to me, Pepper said, "It's so great that I am at a loss for words." Finally, I saw my dad through the glass. I waved at him and asked, "Did you already hire a new captain?" Ted walked to the control panel, pressed the button as Pepper did and said, "Yes. I did." "I can't miss your album recording, can't I? So you'd save $15 to listen to it live?" I teased. Third-person POV. Outside the studio, a Mercedes-Benz Viano pulled up into the parking lot and a blonde, curly-haired young woman exited the car. "So, he is recording now, right?" Taylor S., a popular pop artist, asked her entourage that consisted of her co-songwriters and concert planner. "Yes. We already got permission from the entertainment's CEO to sit in to watch." The concert planner replied. "Good. Let's see what he's made of," Taylor said and walked to the front door with her people. Chapter 34, A Swift Solution. Edward's POV. As the songs needed to be edited, I only managed to sing Toxic, The Lazy Song, Grenade, It Will Rain, and 7 Years Today. The rest of the time was spent creating the melody, adding the bass and other musical accompaniment, listening back to the vocals and the song, and much more. "Abby. Wipe please," I asked while using the sound equalizer to mix up all the sounds together. "Here." Abby wiped my sweaty forehead with my own handkerchief, causing Haley to roll her eyes. "Are you guys playing surgeon?" Haley remarked sarcastically. "Well, I do want to see her in a nurse's outfit. So maybe later," I replied, causing Abby to pinch my arm to retaliate. I ignored her and continued, "Maybe she'll give me an examination," as I lay helpless in the bed. Haley rolled her eyes and wanted to make a snide remark, but someone else was faster than her. "Okay. Stop. I'm right here." Ted suddenly interjected as he was standing behind Abby the whole time. Mitchell had returned home after pulling Harvey together with him for him to save me from getting mauled by the Cougars. "Dad. You don't know what you're missing. Find a girlfriend, and do it soon," I teased, not minding his apprehension on my flirting. It wasn't the fact that I had a girlfriend that was making Ted annoyed, but he kept thinking that I was purposely showing affection in front of him to make him jealous. It was true. I did it on purpose. The old guy had been single long enough. "Play it. Let us hear it," the sound engineer said. The sound engineer was a long-haired old guy in his 50s, dressed as a hippie, and even smelled like one too, marijuana. Although I had the knowledge and the melody inside my mind, the old man had been showing me how to get the melody out by using the control panel.
With my enhanced IQ, I only needed an hour of learning to level up my skills in music creation using studio equipment.
You know. You're very cool before,
Haley said with a bit of dissatisfaction. She enjoyed seeing me sing and creating my own songs, but now that I had eased up and flirted with Abby, she could only swallow the bitter pill as she wanted to watch the album creation on her own. Of course, this time I had spoken to her about taking paparazzi pictures or secretly recording videos about the session.
He's cool all the time,
Abby said and hugged me while standing behind me. The back of my head was suddenly cushioned by her soft chest.
That's true,
I said, earning an eye roll from Haley. I could joke around as I had finished editing the melody for the 7 Years song. Then, I played the result for all to hear. The hippie sound engineer shook his head in acknowledgement as he heard the melody that I had created.
It seems I'm no longer needed here. Will I lose my job now? He muttered underneath his breath.
While we were enjoying the finished song, the entertainment company's CEO was busy catering to the needs of a young pop star artist.
He didn't even notice that I'm here, Taylor said after watching the recording session with Pepper.
When he's creating, he usually tunes out all the other distractions,
Pepper said in defense.
Not once did I turn to the room they were sitting in, the VIP room. It was created for investors who wanted to hear and see the song creation without bothering the artist.
Even me?
Taylor S. pouted cutely, causing Pepper to be disgusted.
I said all distractions.
Pepper stressed again, almost snarking when facing the young woman. Taylor rolled her eyes and was silently watching me for my entire recording session.
He's good.
Very skillful. He knows what he wants, and didn't doubt himself a bit in creating the song. Taylor complimented as she licked her lips seductively.
Too bad he's 14. He's good enough for the opening act. You can send the management to come see for themselves. Why would you come here yourself?
Hey.
You're the one who offered.
Taylor took offense because Pepper's words sounded like accusations.
I didn't think you'd accept. Aren't you busy?
Pepper snarked.
Well, I am creating a new song right now. But I can't seem to find the right melody for it, Taylor confessed.
So I came here for inspiration.
And my luck gave me a very cute boy. Your luck didn't give you anything.
Don't do things that would send you to jail before your career even blossomed, Pepper said facetiously. Turning to his 50-grand wristwatch, Pepper said, "It's almost 8 p.m.
We should end the session for today."
He stood up from the luxurious chair and walked outside the room.
Taylor hummed and followed Pepper from behind uninvited. Edward. Great job for today.
Pepper walked in excitement and patted me on the shoulder.
Smiling softly, I said, I always do a great job. It's a curse. I can't seem to be bad at something. Don't worry. You're really bad at being humble, Ted replied, making the people around me laugh.
Then, I saw the sight of the young girl behind Pepper. With her twirly one-piece dress, Taylor waved lightly as she met her eyes with mine.
Wait. Taylor, S? I asked with a shaky voice. A/N. Although there is similarities, just remember this is a parallel world. Yeah. I'm glad that you recognize me,
Taylor said excitedly while displaying the most bright, innocent, country girl personality that had a big dream to become a popular star in the world. I stood from my chair and approached Taylor before reaching out my hand for a handshake, which she accepted.
I really like your songs. Of course I'll know you. What are you doing here?
I said while maintaining eye contact with Taylor and gave a glance toward Pepper at the same time.
Did I not tell you about it before?
She is the main act for the concert next week,
Pepper explained.
Pepper.
You keep being forgetful nowadays. Are you okay? I asked with some concerns. Pepper smiled softly and said, I am well. It just slipped my mind. That's all. Taylor couldn't wait any longer and interjected, your songs are really good too.
I adore all the songs, especially Toxic. I'm sure that you'll reach a platinum record on your first album. With a shy smile that made Taylor's heart palpitate quicker, I said, thank you.
That means a lot coming from a top star.
Edward, Abby suddenly called out when she saw my embarrassed face while meeting the top star. Turning to Abby, I said to Taylor, that's my girlfriend.
Abby.
And the little chibi next to her was Haley.
Is she your girlfriend too?
Taylor asked while maintaining her innocent facade. Haley widened her eyes, and Abby started to feel uncomfortable by Taylor's presence.
No. She is just my friend. I think. I turned to Haley and asked, are we friends? We're not? Haley asked in confusion. I think we are. I answered my own question. Hey. It's not like I'm judging you or anything if you want to keep two of them. Taylor teased. Both are really pretty too. Nah. My love is only for one girl, I said with a bright smile. Abby breathed in relief after she heard that. Although she knew the relationship was only for 2 more months, she couldn't accept it if she needed to share me with someone else. We got to talking for a little while as the worker there started to clean up the studio. Ted waited with Haley and Abby outside while I talked with Taylor. Mostly Taylor was instigated by me to share her experience when she debuted. I am preparing for my next album right now, Taylor suddenly said. What's it called? I asked. Fearless, Taylor replied. As I thought hard about the album name, I finally realized the timeline difference between the two people. In my previous world, Taylor released her album Fearless in 2008, but here, she hadn't released it yet. What are you thinking so deeply about? I only told you my album name. Taylor giggled and hit my arm softly as she saw my serious thinking expression. Nothing. I am wondering about your songs. Why don't you sing me a bit about the song you'd written? That's a bit embarrassing. The songs aren't completed yet. Taylor giggled while blushing slightly, moving her eyes away from mine. Is she putting her moves on me? Or is this her technique to make a guy go crazy? Anyway, as I don't want to become one of her songs, I need to make sure to not fall for her traps. I thought secretly. Which song are you working on right now? I asked. With a bit of frustration in her face, Taylor replied, Love Story and You Belong With Me. Damn. Both are kind of the important song that shoots her right toward the global pop star stage. I thought in awe. Will you sing some snippets of it? I asked with twinkling eyes. Although I didn't want to become a song, there was no way I could not care about a future global artist that was sitting in front of me, right? I got the lyrics. But the melody, Taylor said with some exasperation. She had been working on the songs for months now, but she couldn't find the right melody for it. Her album had to be pushed back for months now because of it. Why don't you sing it, and I'll give you my opinion on it? I may be a newbie in this music industry, but I do have a lot of experience in the classical music industry. Yeah. Child prodigy, right? Okay. Tell me what you think. Taylor said and sang the first verse of the song Love Story after picking up the guitar inside the studio. The worker there had to wait for us before shutting down the light, leaving both of us alone together while everyone else had exited. Taylor, we were both young when I first saw you. I close my eyes and the flashback starts. I'm standing there, on a balcony in summer air, see the lights, see the party, the ball gowns, see you make your way through the crowd, and say, hello, little did I know. Okay. That's it. Taylor said with a teasing smile, not expecting anything from me even though she acted as if she did. My perfect pitch and brain neurons superimposed the musical notes and melody of this song and the song I had heard in my previous life almost instantaneously. Can you let me try something? I said as I gestured for Taylor to give me the acoustic guitar she was holding. Sure. Taylor said and handed the guitar. I played the melody that she had played before perfectly without even missing a note, and then I played the melody from my previous life. Sing now, I said while picking the guitar strings. Albeit confused, and a little dumbstruck, Taylor did what I asked and sang the first verse of the song as she did before.
But this time, the melody got smoother and the songs finally fit.
Oh my God.
Taylor squealed and hugged me tightly while jumping around.
I can't believe it. You'd solved it. Now, the other part,
Taylor said hurriedly. But then, Pepper re-entered the studio with a fuming expression.
Come on outside. What are you guys still doing here? We're all going to go home now.
Pepper ordered. Be right there, I said from afar and then turned to Taylor.
Maybe next time. Why don't you come to my studio next? We can talk more about the song there.
Or maybe even my place, Taylor invited me.
Maybe after the concert. I'm too busy right now, I replied casually. Raising one of her eyebrows, Taylor asked as if offended that I had rejected her only a polite invitation. Busy doing what?
Flashing a teasing smile, I said, creating a few softwares, my songs, concert preparations, stock market research, and school stuff.
I am in middle school in the first place.
Taylor paused, her expression was in disbelief after she heard my statement.
Wait. You're not in high school yet? Nope. Still in middle school.
In fact, this May 4th is my birthday. Taylor's jaw dropped after she heard what I said and finally released her hands from my body. But I caught her faking her reaction as the upper corner of her lips were rising upwards. We walked outside to where my dad's car was. Abby and Haley had waited for half an hour for me and Taylor to come out and now had a sour expression on their faces.
Did you guys eat a lemon while I was not here? I asked teasingly.
By the way, I wanted to say it before, but I didn't have the opportunity.
That's a nice dress, Taylor complimented Abby. Thanks.
Both Abby and I answered at the same time.
Taylor giggled while looking at me. Why are you the one answering it?
Abby grabbed my arm and said teasingly but with a hint of hostility, because
he was the one who made it. Just for me. Taylor didn't seem to mind the deliberate way of talking and she didn't even acknowledge Abby next.
While looking in my direction, Taylor opened her mouth a little bit and asked, "You can make a dress too?
How talented are you?"
Humph. Abby groaned while I smiled softly.
I guess I am talented. Okay, you have my number. You can text me later.
I waved goodbye at Taylor before sitting next to the driver.
Hey!
Haley called out after I sat on her seat, but there was no chance for me to give it back to her. Helpless, Haley sat angrily at the back seat. I waved Taylor goodbye before Abby pressed the gas pedal and drove us off from the studio at high speed.
Third-person POV? Damn.
He's tough, Taylor muttered as she watched Edward leave.
Or, he's 14. He didn't understand your signals yet, Taylor's female co-songwriter said as she entered the car. Nah. That's not it.
He understood, but he's purposely keeping away from me. And that just makes him more desirable, Taylor said jokingly. However, her co-writer didn't believe in her even a bit. 4 years will pass quickly. Just wait till then, her co-writer said.
Maybe, Taylor replied ambiguously.
On another road, Pepper was giving Ted a ride because the car he borrowed had totally broken down and had to be towed to the mechanic.
Why didn't you ride with your son? Pepper asked. Are you kidding me?
He's targeting me and wants to convince me to get a girlfriend.
I'm not taking a ride with him,
Ted replied. That reminds me, Edward asked me to introduce you to some nice girls. We're going to see her right now. If you don't want to talk to her, just consider we're going for a drink. Pepper said and took a different street when they got to the city, going to a bar instead of going home. Pepper, Ted called out in disbelief, but he couldn't fight Pepper on this one. After all, the man had done so much for his son. Letting out a sigh, Ted said defeatedly, "Fine."
Edward's POV. Are you mad at me?
I asked the pouting Abby, who was avoiding looking at my face as she drove. Although she looked cute with the puffed-out cheek, I couldn't let her continue being angry with me.
Haley interjected and said accusingly, "Why wouldn't she be mad at you? You were totally flirting with Taylor." Nodding my head in understanding, I said, "I didn't flirt with her."
"But she flirted with me."
Abby gave me a death glare in which I responded by smiling brightly. "I understand why you're mad, but you don't have anything to worry about."
Putting my hand on her thigh as she drove, I continued, "I won't ask you not to get mad or jealous. It's a normal reaction to have. In fact, I am pretty glad that you like me so much that you're getting jealous when other girls talk to me."
I am not jealous. Who says I'm jealous? I'm mad," Abby reiterated.
Okay. I would be jealous if you're talking with some popular artist and he was flirting with you too,
I said calmly.
Then, I hit her with my best charismatic smile and said, "You're the only one from me.
I won't even look at other girls when I'm with you."
Abby removed one of her hands from the steering and pinched the back of my head that was on her thigh, picking it up using the pinch and throwing it back to my side, and then held the steering wheel with both hands again.
That's not healthy. People look at the opposite sex all the time. You can't promise that you won't look,"
Abby said, her angry tone gradually diminishing. She turned to look at my face for the first time and said with a longing tone, "I won't get mad anymore.
You don't have to worry about me." "No. We're going to talk about this," I said, causing Abby to be taken aback.
"If our talk is going to make us fight, then we'll fight."
"Okay. You want to fight? Then, how come you didn't stop Taylor when she's flirting with you?" "Because she's a senior in the industry. Pepper is giving me so much trust that he created a company just for me.
I need to get closer to her, but not go out with her. I stress this again, so that I can understand how the industry works, and even learn about her distribution, her marketing strategies, and all of that. I can't just sing and hope that people will just buy my album, you know?"
"Oh," Abby exclaimed flatly, but Haley, who was listening from behind, suddenly interjected, "Then, why do you guys need some alone time in the studio? Just the two of you?"
Well, she was talking about her next album, and needed some privacy.
That's all. Do you really think she would make a move on me?
She is 19 years old.
It's a crime to do that.
Oh. This time, Haley was the one who exclaimed flatly.
"Any more questions?"
I asked without teasing them this time.
"You know.
The fact that you're answering it smoothly makes me feel that you had thought about the matter a lot."
Abby started to fight again.
I smiled and turned toward the traumatized girl that had a pathological cheater and liar dad.
"I'm being honest.
You can even ask me if I did check out her body, and I will answer it honestly."
"Well, did you?" Abby asked meekly.
I took a quick peek.
"But I like em big, so I lost interest," I replied honestly.
Abby finally breaks into a smile, but she quickly covers it up.
"Haley,
wear your headphones,"
Abby ordered. "No,"
Haley replied with a smile on her face. "You got a chance to hear all of his words truthfully.
There is no way you're leaving me out of this."
"Fine," Abby said, and then she started asking me some questions.
"Am I the first girl you kissed?" "No. I had another girlfriend before. But you're the first one I'd make out with," I replied.
"It was also when I'm 12, so we don't even know what we were, in fact, dating."
"I see."
"Then, did you?" Abby turned to Haley in wariness, but Haley was only smiling and leaning forward to hear the conversation better.
"Just consider that I'm not here," Haley said happily. "Why did you agree to date me?" Abby asked.
"Because you're really smart, funny, gorgeous and sexy too,"
I replied. "Honestly, I got a crush on you the moment I laid my eyes on you." Smiling widely, Abby asked, "Really?"
Leaning my face closer to hers, I said, "Really?" Then, we shared a kiss together in front of Haley.
"Ugh. Don't make out in front of me. Focus on the road," Haley interjected. Chapter 35, second episode?
When we arrived home at around 10 p.m., Abby and I escorted Haley to her house this time.
Why? Haley asked in confusion. To ensure your safety. I lied through my teeth.
The reason was to not let Haley bother us when Abby returned to my house afterward. We had an intense makeout session before Abby returned to her house at midnight. Finally, my dad returned home smelling like perfume, cigar, and alcohol.
Did you have a great time? I asked him teasingly.
That's Sal, how could anyone be so? Ted blurted out unconsciously as he was a bit drunk now. Although he didn't finish his words, I noticed that his shirt was tucked in only at one side, and there was some lipstick mark on his neck.
Slutty?
I finished his words for him.
I thought you would spend the night with her. Too bad you left early.
Ted was stunned speechless at my casualty when I found out my own father was hooking up with a random woman at a bar.
What? Pepper already told me all the details. I smirked.
The next morning came, and I woke up at 8 a.m. on a Sunday. Today, Ted had gone to work extremely early instead of waiting after we had breakfast together, so I guess he was embarrassed. Even though they didn't sleep together. I muttered in dissatisfaction. After having breakfast, I decided to jog around the neighborhood. Wearing a simple gray sweater and gray sweatpants, I put on my running shoes and started to run.
The reason why I was running is simple. Because someone invited me. Good morning, Abby said while running beside me the minute I started jogging.
She didn't wear makeup today, but her face was still pretty. The first thing I did was running a little slower to let her pass me and to check out her behind as she was wearing long yoga pants and a crop top that revealed her belly.
Really? You're seducing me early this morning? I said while admiring her jiggling bubble but from behind.
Her hair was tied up in a ponytail style, bouncing up and down as she ran.
Run beside me, perv. Abby admonished me even though she was flattered.
As she wanted to study in the field of forensic, and basically become a cop, she had kept herself active and even learned self-defense such as taekwondo and karate, a black belt in both.
Running beside her, I asked, "Didn't you always jog with your mom? Why are you jogging alone today?" Ugh. Don't remind me of that. Mom is not yet waking up.
She got drunk and interrogated me about all the things we did last night.
I think she had gone running too, somewhere. Gulping my saliva, I asked, "Did you tell her?" Abby grinned mischievously and asked, "What do you think?" Well, she is still letting you meet me, so I guess you didn't tell her anything,
I said and slapped her but before I ran faster forward.
Ouch.
You little dash, Abby cursed and started to chase me. While I was messing around with Abby, I saw the Dunphys, mostly Claire, Phil and Luke, riding a bike on the streets. Although Phil and Claire's bike was fine, Luke was riding a small, curly white bike with cute tassel ribbon streamers on the handle and a basket on the front.
Hey. Good morning, I said as I ran towards them. Oh. It's the artist. Can I have your autograph? Phil greeted me happily. Surprised by the sudden encounter, the whole family stopped their bike to talk. Enjoying a little date in the morning? Claire asked teasingly as she saw Abby running towards me from behind.
Yup, I replied casually, causing Abby to hit me in the arm as soon as she arrived at my location.
We're not on a date. Hi. Nice to meet you. I'm Claire,
Claire said and introduced herself to Abby.
I'm Abby. She waved meekly towards Claire. Luke, why are you riding a girl's bike? I asked.
Phil turned to Claire as if telling Claire that he had made the right decision.
Phil and Claire commentary. Phil explained the situation. My son has been riding his sister's old bike. Claire interjected quickly, until he's responsible enough to take care of his own bike. Look, he spilled a soda on my computer. He ruined our digital camera taking pictures of himself underwater. It's a girl's bike,
Phil said, causing Claire to avoid Phil's eyes. I'm all for teaching him a lesson, but I worry about the ridicule he might get from some loudmouth bully.
Phil. My dad called him a little bo peep one time. Claire whispered. Commentary ends. This is my last time riding it. Dad is going to buy a new one for me this afternoon. Luke said in excitement. Oh. I was thinking that, if you want, I can strip off the paint and we can make this a boy's bike together. But getting a new bike is better. What? Can you change it? Luke asked in shock. Luke. It's better to buy the new one. After all, you're getting bigger. Phil said. Claire whispered to Phil, but if Ed changed it, he didn't have to buy one. Also, Haley is not going to get mad. Besides, I don't know why you didn't do this in the first place. Phil said in defense, getting a little emotional, oh, I'm sorry that I have a gag reflex to the smell of paint, Claire. Phil. That's not what I meant. Claire tried to defend herself, but Phil's feelings were already hurt. As the family drama deepened, I decided it's time for me to take my leave. I'm sorry, guys. I have to go now. Have to keep my heart rate up. I said and waved goodbye to the family before I started jogging with Abby again. You're really close to that family. Abby said after we had run far away till the family was no longer to be seen. Yeah. I guess I am. They are pretty fun. I replied honestly with sweat dripping from my chin. We rested at a park for a while after we had jogged. Do 10 push-ups. Now. Abby suddenly ordered as we reached the secluded area of the park. Tilting my head in confusion, I asked, why? I will kiss you one time when you finish 10 push-ups. Abby smiled mischievously and challenged me. Even though our heights were the same, my body was skinnier than her. I heard you offer, and I will in turn give mine. I said. What is it? Abby asked, intrigued. I'll follow you do your exercise routine today, and you'll give me a kiss. That's easy enough. I usually do 3 reps, you're losing in the deal dash. With a smirk, I said, I'm not finished yet. You'll give me 1 kiss, in front of your mom. Perv. Abby shouted and pinched my stomach. Just for that, I'll sit at your back while you're on your last rep. She forced me to do the push-ups now. I smirked and said, you keep talking like that is a punishment. I'll say this again. It's not. I'll be very glad when you sit on me. So she did it on the first rep while I was in the push-up stance. Abby sat on crossed legs on my back. Oh. Soft. I muttered. Let's see if you can still be cocky after this. Abby said. After doing 10 push-ups, I started feeling the extra weight on my back burdening my body. My hands shook, but I still managed to do 10. Humph, lucky. Abby said in dissatisfaction and got off my back. Hold my legs. I'm going to sit up. Abby ordered. Although I was tired, I hugged her raised knees while she was lying flat on the ground. 1. I counted, and Abby brought her body up. Then, I gave her a peck on the lips the moment she managed to sit up. She paused while narrowing her eyes at me. What are you waiting for? Get back down. 2 is next. I said with an innocent face. HPMH. Abby scoffed and got back down. Then, she sat up for the second time, and I kissed her again. Stop that. Abby said, getting down for the third time. Okay. This time, I won't move. Your choice whether you want to kiss me or not. I said and leaned my head a bit closer towards her. Abby sat up slowly as she was being indecisive. Then, she kissed me lightly as she did it. See? You want to do it too. I smirked and said cockily. Abby's face flushed, but not because of the exercise. As she sat up for the 4th time, well, you know how this goes, /. We were both breathing heavily after we finished the exercise. Our body was sweaty, and it tasted a little salty every time we shared a kiss. So, want to go back to my place and shower together? I invited Abby teasingly while we walked home together.
But then, before she even answered, Desire popped out of nowhere with her own jogging outfit, a barely fittable sports bra, and a short bike short that accentuate her camel toe as she ran.
Hey Abby. You wouldn't be able to guess what just happened?
Desire said in excitement and hugged her sweaty daughter with her sweaty body. As their bodies collided, I thought secretly, this family is too much for a teenage boy like me.
I enjoyed the view with my eyes as my body instinctively reacted to it.
Luckily, I was wearing sweatpants at this moment.
Third-person POV.
10 minutes before, while Edward and Abby were working out together, Desiree was running around, searching for her daughter for them to run together. She crossed paths with the Dunphys who were riding their bike.
Hey!
Claire greeted politely as she saw Desiree passing by in her sexy clothings. It was an instinctive greet, as she knew Desiree from the school.
Desiree stopped running and said with a bright smile, "Hi." A bit helpless as Desiree started to stop instead of nodding politely or greeted politely before moving on her own way just like a normal person would, Claire decided to introduce her family. "Oh, okay. Hi, this is my husband, Phil."
"Hi," Desiree said, turning her attention solely to Phil. Inside her mind, she knew she had seen Phil's face before, but she couldn't make out when she saw him. Therefore, she kept staring at him.
Claire continued, "And that's my son, Luke, right there."
She pointed at Luke who was still biking around in his girly bike.
Desiree turned to Luke and muttered to herself, "Cute."
"Phil.
This is Desire." Claire pronounced her name as the English word.
Desiree decided to introduce herself properly, Desiree, the Siree, while extending her hand to Phil. Phil shook it while Claire apologized for mentioning her name wrong. A bit vigilant by her man's blatant staring at the hot mom, Claire explained, "Desiree just moved in down the block." Phil turned to Claire while she was talking, and turned his head back to Desiree so fast his neck almost had a whiplash.
"Fun."
"Where?"
Phil said. "At 314.
Desiree said while still keeping a polite smile. "Oh, the two-bedroom cottage with the indoor-outdoor family room."
"Very good,"
Phil suddenly said. Leaning her head forward in confusion, Desiree asked, "How did you?"
"Bet you're loving that steam shower," Phil said.
"Phil, that's creepy,"
Claire admonished quickly.
"Oh, sorry."
Phil laughed and explained, "I'm a real estate mogul." "What?" "No, I am a real estate agent." We caravanned that house."
While Desiree's boobs were jiggling, Phil said, "Great, Deck.
"Thanks. I'm just there till my divorce is final," Desiree said. "Now, who is coconuts enough to divorce you?"
Phil flirted unconsciously. Claire decided that it's enough for Phil now. "We got to go, but we'll see you around."
"Well, we'll have to have you over sometime," Phil offered without talking to his wife first.
Widening her eyes, Desiree replied while touching Phil's arm, "I'd love it."
"All right," Phil said.
"Bye." Desiree waved at the family as she started running again.
"Bye,"
Claire said from afar.
"She's awesome," Phil said to his wife.
"No, we are never having her over,"
Claire said quickly.
"I heard she already slept with two dads from the school."
Turning toward Desiree with an expectant expression, Phil said, "What?"
That's horrible," before he started to cycle, not looking at where he was going, but instead he was checking Desiree's direction.
"Dad! Watch out!" Luke called out as their bike almost crashed into one another as Phil wasn't paying attention.
"Oh, watch it, buddy," Phil warned Luke as he moved his bike away from the possible crash.
"Grandma!" Luke teased. Edward's POV. "What happened, Mom? Are you okay?" Abby asked in concern as her mom was hugging her. "No. That's not it. Guess what? Someone invited me to their house," Desiree said as she released Abby from her embrace. Feeling happy for Mother, Abby said, "That's great, Mom." "Who are they?" "The Dunphys," Desiree answered.
Abby turned to me with astonished eyes as she heard the family's name.
"See? I told you they are awesome, I said, although I knew how Claire really felt about Desiree. I think I need to talk to her about this. While hiding my thoughts from the happy family, I learned a bit about why Desiree was ostracized by the community here. It was after a husband from the school was blatantly flirting at her and was caught by his wife. Then, the rumors started that Desiree was trying to seduce every man in his path, trying to become a homewrecker, and everything else. In fact, she wasn't even attracted to the man, nor was she flirting back. She hated men who cheated on their wives the most. Why would she ever date such a man? Ugh. My body feels sticky and uncomfortable. I couldn't wait to take a shower. Desiree whined after we arrived at her house. You want to shower together, Ed? Desiree said, causing me to widen my eyes. M.O.M. Abby called out in disbelief before I could even answer. Wait. Sorry. I meant, do you want to use our shower, Ed? I will fix us up for some breakfast. You must be hungry from all that exercise. Desiree teased while looking at the both of us. Nah, if we aren't showering together, then I'm going to go home. I teased, causing Abby to smack my hand. I can't believe both of you. Abby stampeded off in anger, leaving me and Desiree alone in the front door. While laughing, I said, I'll go home now. Okay. The offer still stands. You know, until lunchtime. Desiree said and waved me off. But, instead of going to my house, I walked to the Dunphys and knocked on their door. Alex opened the door and was surprised to see me standing there. Hey Alex. Is your mom and dad inside? I asked. Yeah. They had just returned. Come on in. Alex said and opened the door fully for me to walk in. Thanks. I said and I walked to the kitchen where the family was having brunch together. Hey. It's Edward again. Phil said from the dining table where the family was eating together. Haley turned toward me in shock, and she quickly hid her face under the table. What's with her? Luke asked. No makeup. Claire replied nonchalantly, wiped her fingers with a napkin and stood up to greet me. Have you eaten yet, Eddie? Claire asked and then offered, if you want, you can join us for brunch. It's okay. I'll make some food at home. I said. Ridiculous. Phil suddenly interjected before I could get to my next sentence. Come. Sit here next to Haley. Join us. Yeah. Sit next to the no-makeup Haley. Luke made fun of his sister. I'm finished. Haley said and hid her face from me using her palm as she walked to her bedroom. Smiling at Haley's antics, I said to Claire, I actually come to speak with you. Me? About work? Claire asked calmly. No. About Desiree. I said, causing Claire to be stunned, and Phil dropped his fork, causing some clatters inside the kitchen. WWW, what do you want to talk to me about Desire? Did she make a move on you? Claire became extremely panicked and started to stutter. Phil. Take Luke to go play on the trampoline. Claire ordered. But I haven't finished eating. Phil said in a dejected tone. Now. Claire said, causing both Phil and Luke to scurry away outside the house. Yeah, she invited me to shower at her house. I said. That slut, Claire cursed, but stopped her reaction when I continued, because she is my girlfriend's mother. Oh. Abby's mom? Haley said from afar, still eavesdropping the conversation as she quickly put on her makeup. Yup. Wherever it is you are. I said, turning around to search for Haley, but didn't find her location anywhere. You know her, Haley? Claire asked. Yes. She's my friend. She scored 2,000 on her SATs. A genius. Haley replied from out of nowhere again. Claire was secretly shocked when she heard the facts. What do you want to talk to me about? Claire asked with an uncomfortable feeling inside her chest. Not much. Phil invited Desiree to come to your house, right? I am hoping that you won't cancel.
After all, you're the first ever family to invite her into their house.
No.
You're lying, Haley said in shock from afar.
Alex then interjected, why is Mom the first one to invite her? She seems nice? Because of a rumor.
I explained to Alex. Ugh, I'm so sick of the rumors.
Haley said and walked into the kitchen with her face ready this time. It's not a rumor. I heard from my friend Bethany about it.
Claire said, trying to defend herself.
Ain't it convenient?
When a hot divorce moved into a neighborhood, rumors about her sleeping around with people's husbands suddenly came out, justifying the actions of the insecure housewives with cheating husbands to control their man's life and to push Desiree far, far away from their lives to keep their husband?
Yeah, Mom. Isn't that convenient?
Alex said deliberately while crossing her arms. She understood the situation perfectly with limited information. As an outsider, she knew how baseless rumors can be, and Desiree was a victim in this part. Yes, but, Claire glanced at Phil, wondering if she had done the same thing to protect her man too. If you want to know for sure if the rumors are true or not, why don't we trace it back to the source? The rumors said Desiree had slept with 2 husbands from the school.
Tell me, who are those husbands? Why isn't their name mentioned?
Claire opened her mouth, and then she pulled her head back in confusion and realization.
Wait. Who did she sleep with?
Haley was confused, so, apparently she slept with 2 guys, but no one will tell us who those 2 guys are?
If they were even real in the first place. Alex explained. Ah, so fake rumors, huh? Haley said. Also, most wives couldn't help but be wary toward Desiree as she's pretty easygoing and friendly. Her situation is like Gloria's. Wait. There's rumors about Gloria too? Alex asked in shock. No. There isn't. Don't lie to me. Claire said. Then, I called Gloria on the spot and put the call on loudspeaker. What are you doing? Don't ask her that?
Claire tried to snatch the call from me, but it was already connected.
Hello? Gloria picked up the call. Hey Gloria. It's me, Ed. I want to ask you something, but the topic will be a little uncomfortable. It's okay. If it's uncomfortable, then I won't answer. Gloria said casually. Okay. Have you ever been left out by the parents around here in activities, or them letting Manny play with their children, as they fear that you will steal their husbands? I.e. Many times. And their husbands is ugly too, why would I ever want to steal them? Gloria replied honestly. Are there any rumors about you that were spread unfairly? I asked again while Claire was speechless. Let me think. There is one about me being from a cartel. There is one about me having diseases.
The most unfair one was me worshipping a goat head.
Who is a goat head? Why do I need to worship him? I eat goat. Laughing a bit, I said, Gloria.
I think they meant worshipping Satan or the devil.
I know, see. Terrible rumors. Why do you ask? Claire snatched the phone from me and asked, so Gloria. Is this rumor a common thing for you? No. Before I got divorced, everyone loved me.
Then, when I split up with my husband, everyone was afraid of me, stealing their ugly husbands. When I moved to California and married Jay, the rumors died down a bit.
I know. Why are you there, Claire? Gloria suddenly realized with whom she was talking to. Gloria is Gloria. I still couldn't believe that the rumors weren't true. Claire said. What rumors? Hello? Gloria asked from the other line, but was ignored. Then.
If rumors are indeed true, I said and turned toward Haley and held her face lovingly.
What are you doing?
Haley asked, flabbergasted by the sudden touch. Then, I traced her lips with my finger, causing Haley to freeze on the spot before I kissed her, or pretended that I kissed her. I actually kissed my thumb while showing everyone that I was kissing her.
What are you doing? Claire said and separated us forcefully. Well, there is a rumor about Haley being my pet. A pet that both me and my girlfriend enjoy together. Isn't that right, Alex? Right now, I'm only glad that you didn't choose a worse rumor to make your point. Alex said nonchalantly while Haley's brain was short-circuiting. Don't worry. I didn't kiss her. I only pretended to do so. I explained with a mischievous smile as Claire was freaking out. Yo, you did that to make a point? Claire was flabbergasted by my boldness, while Haley got angry at me. How dare you use me? Maybe he mistook you for public property. Alex said sarcastically. What? Haley gasped in offense, and stampeded off angrily to tell her dad what I had just done. See, Claire. It was very hard for an outsider to get along with a new community. Gloria got Jay, but Desiree was only alone with Abby. And if you ask her about it, she will tell you why she would never date a married man. So, what do you want me to do? Claire asked honestly. Just invite her over, and treat her like one of your friends. She will really appreciate that. And since I know Phil can't be trusted, I will keep him at my house. Claire finally gave up and said, okay. I'll invite her this afternoon. Nice. Invite Abby too. She's pretty smart, I'm sure she will be best friends with Alex. Sure. 2200 in the SATs. I'd be willing to be her friend. Alex said while being proud. What happened? Why is Haley mad? Luke asked as he entered the house. Where is she? I asked. I don't know why, but Dad suddenly hugged her while she was venting, making her more angry. Luke explained. Do you want to go with me to buy a bike? Luke asked. Sure. Let's call your dad and go together. I agreed to and rubbed Luke's curly hair. While we're planning for the evening, my phone line was still connected to Gloria's. They kissed? What are they talking about now? Jay asked. I don't know. Hello? Gloria called out again for someone to respond to her. That wraps up this part of What If Karmic Gacha System in Modern Family World. Thanks so much for listening. As always, new parts drop every 4 days, so be sure to stay tuned. Also check out my Patreon channel for early releases of all the series, where you can find all the series released one day ahead of YouTube. If you enjoyed the video, don't forget to like, subscribe, share it with your friends, and please consider supporting the original author as well. See you in the next one.